Welcome to Ngosi Talk Shows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled within.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Welcome to Ngosi Talk Shows, everyone. Find your own voice. Led from within. My name is Nomsa Clara Mngbe. I am the founder of Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency and the founder of Ngosi Talk Shows. So today I will be talking about how you can successfully build your self-confidence. And basically, I will cover building self-confidence and so that you can live a life feeling strong and confident and self-assured. And so if you guys can hear me, those who are watching, because sometimes I broadcast, because today I'm on my own, and when I broadcast and find that the audio is not working. So let's get back to building confidence. In this basically talk, I will be basically I'll be talking about the low signs of low self confidence and how you can recognize and begin to conquer that self-doubt. We all have self-doubt in our lives, while there is no single factor that leads to a lack of confidence. So we struggle, even myself, there were times where I struggled with self-doubt. There were sometimes when I have to make a decision, I struggle with self-doubt, but I have to talk myself out of it. If I have that voice within, it tells me that I'm not good enough. So I have to then tell myself that, no, I am good enough, because that voice will try to talk you out of every decision that you want to take in life. And more often in the accumulation of negative experiences from our past. Basically, it depends with our past attachment as well. John Kenny always talk about, basically that's his field. He talks about attachment, childhood attachment. So back to your childhood. Basically, when you're a child, you're growing up, you try to crawl. Everything is perfect. You crawl, you can learn everything, your confidence is great. But then now when you start talking, you start making decisions, and then people start, maybe your family, sometimes it could be simple divorce, family being separated, or sometimes it could be simply the little things. Basically, no one comes to a perfect family. I don't come from a perfect family. So we all have those attachments from our childhood that basically we need to recognize them, and the results of that can cause failure. But if you truly recognize them, you can conquer them. But if you don't, it can actually hinder your own growth, and which can lead to failure. Low esteem, confidence is very defeating, and is a very, very big thing when it comes to a human being. It is defeating, because if you can't make a decision just because you feel that you are not enough. So that means basically you need to define what is basically causing uh, those emotions, causing you to feel the way uh, you are feeling. It can also limit our ability and keep us from growing and moving forward from our mistakes, failure, and defeats. But if you do recognize it, you can avoid all those things and work on it, work on that self-confidence. And yesterday we were talking about uh, getting out of your comfort zone. So basically, when you don't have confidence, basically it confines to us our comfort zone where everything is safe for basically for potential humiliation humiliation. So and further mistakes. You can basically, you can feel humiliated if you basically don't have self-confidence, and you can get stuck in your comfort zone and believing that uh, you shouldn't be who you want to be, and that can lead to, it can left you hurt and disappointed as well. Because if you want to do something and you can't do something, that can cause disappointment. But once you are stuck in that comfort zone of low self-esteem, no confidence, it's very hard to move forward in life. I don't know anyone who has never been in that situation. And there were times where basically myself, I had that problems until I basically learned, I had to figure out um, whatever to deal with the things that were basically preventing me from achieving my dreams. So confidence can do that. But if you want to reach out to your goals and living a rich fulfillment life, um, basically, no matter how harsh and messed up things get, but you can bring yourself back if you realize that basically you shouldn't surrender to your inner critics that drives inside us. And even though we have that inner critics, we are still filled with the we still have that confidence within us. We can actually remove that self-doubt that is within us, that is filled with doubt and profound lack of confidence. So remember, when you are feeling self-doubt, there is a part of you within that is filled with confidence. So all you got to do is remove that self-doubt so you can actually live your own life. And this may not even realize what people may not even realize what they're doing when that happens. So how much self-doubt can actually damage your life if you actually don't deal with it. Basically, it can prevent you from achieving the goals that you want. It can actually, the self-doubt can speak louder within you, which makes basically inadequate and worthless uh, for you to actually, like, let's say a child, if their parents divorce from their early age, and if the divorce is not dealt with properly, that can leave them with that child worthless, feeling worthless early in their childhood developmental years. So that means it can affect your life in a later stage. So you then have to, like when parents are divorcing, it's up to their parents to actually, whatever is going on in family, it's not about divorce. There are so many things that go on within the family, or if parents take substance, or if parents there's abuse within the family. There's so many things that can contribute to all those things, and that can affect people when they are older. That can affect us when we are older. I didn't grow up in an abusive family, but my parents divorced. I was very young when my parents divorced anyway. I think I was 8 months, but I don't remember the divorce, the process. I don't remember anything. All I remember is my mom and my dad. But it did affect me, although my parents were in good terms, but it did affect me later with my own marriages, because there was a part of me uh, that, okay, although my parents divorced, there was part of me that I lived with my dad. Basically, I lived with my dad, but that was the decision that my father took, that my mom wanted to go to school, wanted to go back to school. They got married when they were young. So I lived with my dad. So when I grew up, and there was a time for me, when you're growing up, everything is fine, but that it was inside within me that there was something that wasn't fulfilled. There were questions within. So that affected my relationship, and even the relationship with my dad, that the love that my parents gave me when I actually start getting married and living that life, a married life. I didn't know how to live. I've never got told off. So I wasn't spoiled. So we have to take that word out. My family never spoiled me, but they've never told me off. There was always an explanation why you can't do this, why you can't do this. So when you are in a relationship, people are different. So I didn't know that people are different. For me, I expected how my father treated me. I expected my spouse to treat me the same. So you try to tell me off. I'm like, I'm confused. I don't get told off. I get explained. The things get explained to me. This is what is happening. This is my needs. This is my desires. So that can cause self-confidence. That destroyed my confidence within my relationship, that I'm not used to being told off. I'm used to somebody sitting down with me, explaining to me that this is what it should be done. This is how it shouldn't be done. So that caused, basically, it triggered things within inside, and that made me question my relationship, basically the whole thing. So I had to go for counseling, and for me to be able to actually understand that people are different, and understand and just get rid of that childhood attachment that I had, the idea of that I had, that people are the same. So I expected everyone to treat me the same. I expected everyone to explain to me. But unfortunately, in the real world, it does not work like that. There's some people who don't know how to communicate their needs, and that affected me. But I did work on it, because when my marriage relationship fell apart, I realized that there was something that was wrong, and not with my ex, but with me. So I needed to deal with it. So I had to deal I had to deal with that. But when I dealt with it, and that's when I actually found myself. As when I found who Nomsa was. And I basically had to understand my want. I had to basically accept me for who I am, and instead of trying to listen to my inner critics. So, and instead of believing my miserable denial of who I was at that moment. So that's what happens if you don't basically work on yourself, and you avoid that voice within you. You may try not to listen to these inner critics initially, yet once you believe it's miserable, denials of who you are sure to have to win you over. So you have to basically convince yourself that these claims within you, that claiming that you are not enough. So you have to believe that you are actually enough. And these critiques, there is no validation for it. For these critiques that is telling me, for this inner critiques that is living within, that is telling us that you are not enough. So there is a battle to conquer your being. If you want to conquer the inner critics, there's gonna be a battle. So to deliver you back from the cause of goodness and happiness, or to the end, to the other end of wherever you want to go with your life, because everyone has dreams in life. We all have dreams. We all have goals we want to achieve. But these inner critics will provide a proof of how stupid it could be to take chances with faith. So you basically, it will create proof of how unable and incapacitated you are against shining. And it will make you believe in time that you truly are worthless and insignificant, but you are actually are worthy. You are actually you are actually you are a child of God. I'm a child of God. I don't know your beliefs. So if you can basically tell yourself that inner critiques within you that actually I am going to shine. I am going to be who I want to become. And but if you allow it, it will store some memories of such failure to basically recover, basically for you to keep recovering. It will store them into your subconscious mind, and these inner critics will eat you up until it overpowers your sense of the sense of self within. So you will eventually be ruled with fear, with anxiety, lack of self confidence, and everything, you name it. But of course, the truth is, you are worthy. You are worthy. You are endued with talents and skills, personality that makes you important to those around you and for the world. If you believe that, when the voice of inner critics tells you that you can't be something or you are not good enough, it is important to face it with everything you have to prove it wrong. Keep in mind, you don't always have to be good to everything. I have my own business. I'm not good at everything. I ask for help. So don't be afraid to try new things because you think you have to be good at everything. You don't. So there are some things that you can be good at. There are some things that you can learn, or you can, if you can't learn them, you can ask someone to actually do those things and pay them outsourcing. And while your inner critics may have the noble intention of keeping you from failing, it can also keep you from succeeding. So make sure you look for your next issue soon. We will basically I might do part two of, I think there is another part one already, I'm not sure, for the self-confidence. So I think, yeah, I think we done another one in the first issue, talking about self-image and the role it plays in your life. I think we've done one already. So if you want to uh, basically get some ideas, you can go to YouTube. It's easy, and find a video. I think we talked about the first issue. We talked about self-image, and so you can basically talk about how you can increase your life, So, and we also talk about the self-image and the roles it plays in your life. So you can look for that video if you want to basically link everything together. I think that video is already there, and psychologists and philosophers have scrutinized that the true worth of positive self-image for centuries, even though there are many arguments as to what self-image is. People will agree that self-image has a lot to do with how people feel about themselves. And some will say that self-image means how a person views himself or herself in the world. So it believes that people have positive perceptions of themselves and have been told they are good, or if they've been told they are good or useful. So what do you think a self-image is? So if you can ask yourself that, what do you think self-image is? Do you need a validation for somebody to say you are useful if you are at work? Are you somebody who wait for somebody? If somebody is watching, you can type. I know some people have really great opinions about what they think about themselves. You can type in the box, in the message, and just, what do you think self-image is to you? And how do you define self-image? And what are your views when it comes to self-image? I like to hear people's opinion. And is the self-image what you do in your everyday life, your job? Or is it how you treat others, how attractive they are to others? Basically, how attractive you are, basically. So you have to define self-image to yourself, because what happens is, for me, so what's on the inside of me is greater than what's on the outside. My image is me, how I talk, how I walk, how I basically connect with people, and everything that I do, it defines who I am as a person. And at the time when things were not going well in my life, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my self-image. I I didn't create. I created a self-image where I had to fit in with other people. When somebody comes in with their personality, I try to be that person because I want to fit in. I don't want people, I want to be popular and I want people to like me. It's very, very important to people to like you, but it's not. That's what I thought at the time, that it was important for people to like me. But then as the time goes, I realize actually what's on the inside of me, it is greater than what's on the outside. And I had to I spent 2 hours getting dressed, putting makeup, uh, making sure my hair is done, eyelashes, eyelashes, fake makeup that makes you feel really bad when you put it on, and everything. But then that's why I spent 2 hours. I didn't spend time at all creating my self image within me, inside, within. I didn't do any personal development, no meditation or even prayer to God. I just go to church, I sing a song and I dance, I go home. Instead of giving God a time, I will not give God time because I didn't know who I was at the time. And when I actually figure out my self image, who I wanted to be, I can now get ready in 30 minutes. That's enough for me. If I choose my dress beforehand, I choose my shoes, my handbag, I need to get into the shower. It will take me half an hour to get ready everything. But before, it would take me 2 hours because I believed that when I step outside, people have to look at me. People have to go, wow. But actually, I was neglecting working on my confidence, neglecting myself within. And but then when I did realize that actually I needed to work on myself, so now I can get ready. Half an hour is enough for me. So, and self-image also, it depends with how people view themselves. If other don't enjoy a person's company, they can actually judge that image straight away, and they can basically judge you and the other person, because they are feel neglected, can develop a they can develop a poor self-image if other people don't find that person if they don't find them attractive. um, the person may suffer from self-image. So that's when confidence comes in. Not just everyone is meant to like you. So if you are somebody who actually understands that not everyone is meant to like you, so you are not going to be affected by people's views and people's opinions of you. So we often emphasize on what others think about us. It is important to remember that one's self-image will change throughout their lifetime. As I'm getting older now, I look back when I was 10 years ago or 5 years ago, my image is changing. My image is changing. My mind is changing. Nothing stays the same. So it is very, very important to work on your confidence, so you don't begin to rely on other people's opinions. So you have to rely on yourselves. So the perception of self-image as well, it changes when you become more educated, when you learn skills. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. You learn more about the world, and you have a positive impact on a person's self-esteem when you actually work on yourself. Sometimes, though, a person will need a counseling in order to develop a positive self-image. So I had to go through counseling for myself to actually work on my self-image. And I went through counseling. I went to 4 psychologists. It was good. I went to the first one, and we did talk. I didn't get it. Then I went to the second one. We talked. I thought I got it, but I didn't get it. And I went to the third one. I didn't get it. I thought I did, but I didn't. And then the fourth one. When I left the fourth one, that's when everything sank in. But then I had to work on myself. So it's very, very, very common basically to actually go to a psychologist and seek help. But some people find it is when you go to a psychologist, you go and seek help, is basically you feel defeated. Self-image needs to be nurtured by professional, so you can nurture yourself. Having a professional to nurture your self-image, it does not mean that you actually you are not it doesn't mean that you are defeated. Everyone feels less than perfect sometimes, so there will be times where you're gonna feel less. However, most people, they recover and go on with their lives. Like I recovered myself. I didn't go on depression. I didn't, but I knew something. Like when you feel inside that something is not right, something is wrong, and something needs changing. So I had to evaluate my life. Really, really sit down, evaluate my life, and basically work on the things that needed to be done so I can let go of these bad feelings as easily as I wanted to. And basically, when you do that, your self-esteem image will change. If you don't, you make yourself sick, and you will need professional help and advice in order to gain strength and to get past those bad feelings that you're going through. So make sure you go and look at the video where we talked about self-image. So it will help. So where does self-confidence come from? So how do you get it? Why don't I have it? Some people, they ask those questions. The answer of all these questions can be answered with one word: you. Self-confidence is within you. You are holding it. You are holding self-confidence. And you might be somebody that does not believe that you are worthy, but you are actually worthy because within you, that inside of you, there's a self-confidence and there is doubt. So it's up to you to actually search through your confidence and find that confidence. And basically, it starts with you, your perception of yourself, as well as what people think about your action or behavior. So are you somebody who worry about people? I was like that. I worried about what people thought of me as a person. For some of us, we lack confidence. Basically, a lack of self-confidence only affects our high ambition. You might have always wanted to get up on stage, and maybe you wanted to dance, get up on stage and dance. Maybe you wanted to do acting. You wanted to actually do all sorts on stage, and or to be a professional singer, actor, for example. Perhaps your life dream is to travel the world and visit different countries or cities, but you don't have self-confidence to do it because you will need to communicate with people when you travel. For others, the problem of self-confidence is much closer to home, in the office, and business meetings, public speaking events, or presentation. Maybe you could be that amazing amazing speaker, but because of that confidence, is already there within you. Self-confidence, it affects most of us at some point, and it affected me. And we basically, I go around to actually work on the problem. I didn't avoid it. Some people can use avoidance to actually get out of the situation. If we can get out of any intimidation situation, we will make an excuse not to take part. But sometimes there are times where you can't get out of a situation, even if we really don't want to. You can't get out of it. Lack of self-confidence is basically preventing you from trying to do new things, or from succeeding in your working life. So what do you think? Do you think it is time to do something about it? What do you think? I think it's time. If you have struggling with the self-confidence, I think it is time to actually work on it. As we discussed before, the starting point of improving self-confidence is understanding the cause of the problem. What is causing you feel the way you are feeling. Low self-esteem. Not believing in yourself or not believing in your abilities, feeling inadequate to compare yourself with your colleagues or friends, or maybe some kind of trauma from your childhood, or are all these contributions to what is going on in your life. So by examining the reasons for your low self-confidence, you are halfway there. If you really sit down and basically evaluate everything, taking positive action to overcome your fears is the next step to boost your self-confidence. We all have fears in life. I have my own fears, but I have dealt with them. And the simple way to do this is by taking on small changes. You have to begin step by step without comparing your life, yourself with somebody else. Step by step. Allow your brain to associate certain events or actions with fear. So what do you think? Are you going to do something about it? So you've already prompted the outcome of this situation by taking small steps, conquering this. You'll find the results is most likely not as bad as you thought it would be. In fact, you'll probably be surprised about how good you feel and how self-confidence will instantly increase in your life. So what do you think? So when you actually completed your first challenge, you have to congratulate yourself on achieving your aims. And a small reward can basically often help. If you reward yourself with something, if you're already on the right path to improving your self-confidence, so you are ready to take it to the next level. So it doesn't need to be a huge task. You don't want to basically to undo all the good work by overloading yourself and pushing yourself too much. So you have to begin step by step, baby step, and building up your confidence. It takes time. And while you might want to leap ahead, and it can be good to take things slowly at first and steadily increase the risk you are taking to get yourself and confidence to where you want to be. And risk taking does not, of course, mean jumping off the bridge. But the perceive of something happens as a result of action is usually the biggest barrier with self-confidence. But what happens if you actually conquer it is amazing. Self-confidence problems are common for most people. So if you believe that you are alone, you are not alone. And there are excellent resources to learn to deal with these issues. But if you do have severe difficult facing certain situation, you should seek professional help. And if you look for professional help, basically for me, I did, I'm trying, because I can't see the screen for Restream, and I can't see the comment, so I'm trying to go to both Facebook and Restream and trying to juggle everything so I can see Facebook, restream comment. So I'm trying to check. So what happens is self-confidence. Basically, when you building self-confidence, it takes time. And for me, as I mentioned before, I went to 4 psychologists, and after I finished with 4 psychologists, then I went to Paul McKenna. And Paul McKenna, I just wanted to understand more about my thoughts, my mind, how my mind works, and it did help me. And mostly, I did things practical. Basically, I give myself a task to actually work on my self confidence and do things that I have never done before. And it did help. And I had to learn so many things, how I can feel good about myself and my thoughts, my feelings, and just get rid of those childhood attachment. So that's what I had to do. And having a negative self-perception, on the other hand, it can result to basically to lack of confidence and poor performance and depression. So if it comes to a point where you are even depressed because of self-confidence, that means you need professional help. And if you take your time, and also it will help you with the social as well, and get rid of those limitation. And sometimes people end up taking drug abuse or substances, and that can lead to failure, business failure at work, and that can lead to poverty, and it could lead to so many things. And people have low self-esteem, low self esteem. They rely on heavily on their day-to-day performance, but the positive, basically external experience and the encouragement that can help you to deal with the negative battles is to recognize your feelings that you have about yourself. And the negative feelings can cause basically to low self-esteem, and in some situation it could leave you feeling inadequate, basically inadequacy torture yourself, because you feel that you are not enough. And everything that you do, basically you feel that you are not enough. But there are many unknown ways to improve your self-confidence, or to boost one's confidence. It might be helpful if you actually practice different techniques, uh, rebuting the inner critics that keeps on sending self-defeat messages. So how do we do that? Practice the art of self-nurturing. And self-nurturing, basically, that means that you have to go back to your childhood, rewind yourself back to your childhood. Like myself, when I pray, basically, I always say, God, rewind. I always ask the blood of Jesus to go back into my childhood, rewind my foundation. And if there is anything in my foundation that is holding me back, that is holding my present life or my past, if there is anything in my past that is holding me, that is chained me, and is causing this low self-esteem, and I always got it to go back. I always ask the blood of Jesus to go back on my behalf and undo everything, wipe away every tear that is stopping me becoming who I want to be. And I always ask the blood of Jesus to actually to break those chains that are basically holding me back. So it is very, very important to actually to take steps to increase your self-esteem and tell that inner voice to shut up. You can tell your inner voices to shut up. If that inner voice is actually talking you out of your destiny, talking you out of basically what you need to do as a person, talking you out of your image. So you can tell that voice to shut up. If your inner voice is saying negative things about you in such a situation, you must praise yourself. So you must really, really praise yourself and rebuking your inner voice that keeps on criticizing you. And it should be done on a regular basis. However, this step is not enough to develop your self-esteem. And the second one that must initiate on a way to healthy self-esteem is that a person should nurture themselves. The most important part of this step is start treating yourself as a worthwhile person. You are worthy. You basically, when you were created, when God created you, before you were conceived in your mother's womb, He knew your name, your date of birth. He knew everything about you. Because God is the creator of our destiny. I don't know your beliefs. You can tell me who you believe. Whoever you believe is the creator of your destiny is good with me. So this is what I believe, that God is the creator of your destiny. So it is very, very important to actually rebuke that voice that is criticizing you, because you are actually an amazing person. You were created. And when your mom gave birth to you, some people might have celebrated you, but He did. He celebrated you. My parents celebrated me when I was born. They celebrated me and they loved me. So do I have a right to say I'm not enough? No, I don't have a right to tell myself that I'm not enough. I don't have a right. And so I have a right to nurture myself, because that's why I'm here on earth. So I have a right to seek out people who makes me feel good, so I can nurture myself. And remember that you get to choose your friends. So why not choose people who think you are great, people who think you are amazing, and people who can help you create your life? Why not choosing those kind of people? Why are you choosing people that will make you feel bad about who you are? And also, counseling can improve self-esteem and self-confidence. The basically assessment can it could involve assertiveness training or communication skills or learning to recognize and understanding your own emotional responses in a relationship to others. And that's what I did myself. And sometimes the therapy may also explore early and later experiences that contributed to your low self-esteem, and is very, very effective. It can help you basically to begin to foster trust and build relationships and encouragements. And also it encourages a sense of belonging, components that are important for building self-esteem and confidence. So when you take this the therapy training, it will help you in so many ways. And to build a relationship with yourself is more important. And it also physically as well. Sometimes if you are struggling with self-esteem, so you may struggle physically as well. And you can ask yourself this question: what makes you more confident? And our standards of confidence will affect our happiness. So let's say if you find that you are a good looking person, and if you're a good looking person, and let's say everyone is good looking, right? So this is just an example. You're a good looking person, and so you need to work on your low self esteem and make yourself more beautiful. And by making yourself more beautiful, because if you look at yourself in the mirror and you'll find yourself, oh, I'm beautiful, or I'm handsome. So that means you need to make yourself more handsome, which is within. Everyone is beautiful, everyone is handsome. So that's why I said before, what's on the inside is greater than what's on the outside. So you need to work on the inside. If you believe what you see on that mirror is beautiful, then you will need to work on more beautiful, which is inside. And that is a method that can transform your life. And however, if you actually have problems dealing with accepting your beauty and your attitude towards your image or your skills or talent may start basically it may affect that. So if you believe that you are more beautiful, you have strength in every area of your life. And low self-esteem can actually self-confidence basically is often aggravated by our failures. And but you have to deal with whatever is in your heart. If you always take your failures serious and amplify them by ruminating at your mistakes, then it's like that you are close to self-destruction. Practice attitude to celebrate on victories. Forget about your own stupidities. Celebrate your victories. Victory is getting up in the morning and taking the step, doing simple things. That is a victory. It doesn't have to be big. So you can start by celebrating yourself. If you learn to celebrate yourself, you are actually uh, you are more likely to actually accept yourself and be thankful for who you are in the path that you are taking that moment. And this is the proof that the Creator spends more time, or basically on you, more than you can ever imagine. God spends time trying helping you, but then do we have a right to talk ourselves out of what we have to? Do we have right to talk ourselves out of what has been created for us? Because if your path is to be a business person and serve people, maybe serve millions and millions of people, but then you're not serving anyone, and you tell yourself that you are not good enough. So do you think we actually have a right? You do have a right to talk yourself um, out of that amazing person you should be? No, we don't. So in the end, everything lies with an attitude that deals with things. So you have to be very careful how you handle things or how you handle yourself. If you think of yourself negatively, and those feelings will interfere with your life. And you will never overcome that lack of self-confidence. So make sure that you actually overcome that self-confidence, and develop your confidence as an individual and believe in your self-worth. Um, so I think I'm gonna end today with this. And sometimes self-confidence, people are very, very confident. Sometimes our society is our society as well that can actually destroy our confidence. Because in our societies, if you are a confident person, people, they will start asking questions: what is wrong with you? Or are you on the pill? Why are you happy? Why are you the way you are? So sometimes that can destroy our confidence, but you have to understand that self-confidence comes from within. And outside stimulation may help you, but you all still boil down to knowing yourself and using that knowledge to gain that confidence within you. So knowing that what's on the inside of you is greater than what's on the outside, that is confidence. So that's what basically you need to see yourself. And when you step outside, I used to step outside, I'll make sure that I didn't step in the mud. I'll make sure that basically I'll protect my clothes. I'll make sure I protect myself. I'll make sure my clothes uh, I'll make sure my clothes didn't get dirty. I'll make sure when I go out, I match I'm wearing the right dress, I'm wearing the right handbag, I'm wearing the right makeup. I'll make sure I'm wearing the right hairstyle. I'll make sure I'm wearing the high heels. But what was I forgetting? I was forgetting to work on myself, to basically understand that what's on the inside of me is greater than what's on the outside. So at that moment, and I had to step back and say, God, why am I going through these things that I'm going through it? And God was like, Nomsa, I gave you everything that you asked for. You ask me for this. You ask for the doors of opportunities, I gave you. You ask for a relationship, I gave you a good relationship. And that's when I realized that I was never busy working on within myself. I was busy working on the outside, trying to impress people, trying to make sure that I look good when I was out. But inside, I felt really, really bad. I didn't feel good at all. I communicate with people. Sometimes I go out and listen to people. They talk, and my communication uh, skills were good, but I didn't want to communicate because I didn't want to make people feel bad, or I have to watch what I say. But when you do work on yourself, it's a process, and you also have to work on your spirituality as well, because you have to have some beliefs in something. You have to do some ritual. You have to believe in something as a person in order for you to help you. Like myself, I believe in God. Whenever I feel sad, whenever I don't feel good about myself, I pray to God and I ask God to actually help me. And guess what? He's always there. He's always pulling me through. If I'm feeling confidence, I always say, God, help me. Help me out. So he will help me out as long as I ask. It's given. So you just need to basically leave you with this. You just need to know what's on the inside of you is greater than what's on the outside. And you can work on that confidence. Only you. Your choices. You can help yourself with your self-esteem, improve it, have strength, work on your abilities. God bless you, everyone. If you're watching this later, please press some heart button, share some love with your loved ones, and follow us on YouTube. God bless you. Live with grace.